Most people don't feel poor because they make terrible decisions. They feel poor because modern life quietly drains them, not through one big disaster, but through systems that never stop charging. These systems don't feel dangerous, they feel normal. That's what makes them powerful. Modern life is built on automatic extraction, subscriptions, minimum payments, rising rent, hidden fees, convenience costs. Money leaves your account before you even touch it, which means your income is not really yours. It arrives pre-divided, before food, before savings, before choice. This is called pre-allocation, and pre-allocation is how control disappears. The moment your paycheck is already assigned, you stop being flexible. Flexibility is what turns emergencies into inconveniences. Without it, one small problem becomes a crisis. Now let's talk about the first drain. Subscriptions, streaming services, cloud storage, music apps, delivery memberships, software tools, premium upgrades. Each one feels harmless, £5 here, £10 there. But systems don't care about size. They care about totals. Every subscription is a small hole in your financial bucket. One hole doesn't matter. 10 do. You don't notice the drip. But after enough time, the bucket is empty. That's how modern life removes margin. Margin is the gap between what you earn and what you must spend to survive. Margin is safety. Without margin, life becomes fragile. Now add the second drain. Minimum payments. When you owe money, paying the minimum feels responsible. You're not ignoring the debt. You're doing what the statement tells you. But the system is doing something else. It is keeping the balance alive. As long as the balance exists, interest keeps charging. So your past taxes your future. Every month, a piece of your income is already claimed. That is how debt becomes permanent. It is not a bill. It is a subscription. Now add convenience. One-click payments, delivery apps, ride shares, buy now, pay later. These remove friction. And friction is what normally stops spending. When spending becomes easy, it becomes invisible. Money leaves quietly. You don't feel pain. And what you don't feel, you don't control. Modern life is designed to make spending painless and consequences delayed. That's how drains stay hidden. Now let's talk about the biggest drain most people never think about. Fixed costs. Rent. Phone plans. Insurance. Debt payments. Subscriptions. These costs do not care what happens to your income. They keep charging. When income moves but costs don't, margin disappears. And when margin disappears, everything becomes dangerous. This is why so many people say they are one emergency away. It isn't fear, it is math. Now let's see what happens when something small goes wrong. A car repair, a medical bill, a rent increase, a cut in work hours. Nothing dramatic, just enough. Now you are late. Late means fees. Fees mean less margin. Less margin means more stress. More stress means worse decisions. That is how modern life compounds. Not through disasters, through pressure. Now add credit. When margin is gone, credit becomes the bridge. But bridges charge tolls, interest, fees, penalties. Credit doesn't fill the hole. It stretches it forward, so tomorrow becomes tighter. And tighter tomorrow means more credit. That is the loop. Now add buy now, pay later. It feels harmless. No interest, no pain, but it spends future income. So when your paycheck arrives, it is already gone. That is how modern life pulls money from the future. You are not just spending today, you are pre-spending tomorrow. Now add lifestyle creep. When income rises, spending rises. A better phone, a nicer car, more subscriptions, more convenience. Nothing feels irresponsible, but your margin stays the same. This is why people can earn more and still feel broke. The system absorbs the increase. Now all drains are active. Subscriptions leak. Debt stretches forward. Future income is pre-spent. Fixed costs lock in. Everything looks fine until it isn't. Modern financial collapse does not look like a crash. It looks like a slide. Small leaks, small payments, small delays. Nothing feels dangerous until the options are gone. Now let's talk about the drains nobody sees. Fees. Late fees, overdraft fees, penalty interest, convenience charges. These are not accidents. They are the cost of fragility. The same £50 bill costs one person £50. It costs another 70. That difference is not the bill. It is the lack of margin. That is how poverty compounds. Now add decision fatigue. When money is tight, you make more financial decisions every day. Do I pay this now? Do I delay it? Do I risk the fee? Do I use credit? That constant thinking drains energy. And tired people choose short-term relief. Not because they are weak, because they are human. Modern systems are built around this. They make spending easy. They make consequences slow. That's how traps stay invisible. Now let's talk about something deeper. When you live inside these systems long enough, your brain adapts. You stop thinking about the future. You think about getting through the month. That is not laziness. That is survival mode. And survival mode is expensive. Because when you are stuck reacting, you always choose the option with the lowest immediate pain, which is usually the one with the highest long-term cost. That is how the system feeds on you. Now let's talk about what actually breaks these traps. Not motivation, not hustle, structure. The opposite of being drained is not having more money. It is having more margin. Margin gives you options. Margin gives you time. Margin gives you control. When you have margin, a car repair is annoying. When you don't, it is a disaster. When you have margin, you can say no. When you don't, everything becomes urgent. This is why protecting margin matters more than increasing income. Income can rise and fall. Margin is what keeps you safe. Now here is the rule that changes everything. If something reduces your future flexibility, it is a trap. If something makes today easier by making tomorrow tighter, it is a trap. If something feels comfortable but locks in costs, it is a trap. Most people don't collapse financially. They slide. Small costs, small payments, small upgrades, small conveniences. Nothing feels dangerous. Until the options are gone. That's when people panic. Not because something huge happened, but because everything small happened for too long. This is why people say they are one emergency away. It isn't fear. It is a structure. Now let's talk about how to step out of that structure. Visibility. You cannot fight what you cannot see. Knowing your true fixed costs breaks the illusion. Friction. Automatic spending is where traps live. Make spending harder and control returns. Flexibility. Even a small buffer gives you power, because buffers absorb shocks. Margin absorbs shocks. That is how systems stay stable. That is how people stay safe. Most people don't need more money. They need less extraction. They need fewer systems pulling on their future. And once you see how modern life is designed to drain you, you can start stepping out of it. Slowly, structurally. If this video made something click, like and subscribe to Poverty Traps. We don't do motivation, we explain systems. And comment below, which system drains you the most right now?